We can disagree and still love each other. It's often framed as maturity or respect. But what happens when that disagreement puts real people at risk? In this episode, we confront how just disagreeing about LGBTQ plus lives, identities, and inclusion stops being neutral and starts being dangerous. We examine the real-world consequences of polite harm, the myth of neutrality, and the cost of silence when injustice is dressed up as belief or civility. This is a call to move beyond comfort and into responsibility for families, allies, and anyone who claims to love LGBTQ plus people, because love that refuses to protect is not love at all.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday, so I call you up and you call me down? Would it be okay?
Hello and welcome to the FreedHearts podcast. My name is Robert Cottrell and I'm here as always with
Susan Cottrell.
Hi everybody. Welcome. Connect with us at freedhearts.org. Don't forget all of our resources are absolutely free. This includes our 21-day comprehensive video courses. If you haven't taken one yet, take it. It's free for moms, LGBTQ allies, those deconstructing, lots of courses there. Give it a shot. It's all at freedhearts.org. Today's episode really touches something tender, something charged, I would say, and something very real for so many in our community. We hear about this all the time. I want to talk to you about a phrase I know you've heard before, and maybe you've even said it yourself. Things like, I don't hate you, I just disagree. Or, we can disagree and still love each other. Or, it's just a difference of opinion. Well, on the surface, those words sound so reasonable. Mm-hmm. I will do a little aside here, as there's someone that's kind of a master at this. His name is Preston Sprinkle, and he's an author out there. And the books, he just sounds so reasonable, and he's mastered that type of delivery and language. But what he believes is as absolutely deadly and exclusive and as anti-LGBTQ plus as anyone out there. So that's just an example. I felt like I wanted to throw that in. So, but that kind of stuff can even sound peaceful.
Yeah.
And it's often framed as the mature response, the balanced response, being respectful. But today we want to stop and ask an important question. What happens when, quote, just disagreeing stops being neutral and starts becoming dangerous? And why, we even have to ask this question, and why does this conversation that we're having matter right now?
I mean, we're living in a time when LGBTQ people, and especially trans and non-binary people, are facing increased hostility.
Yeah.
And, it's not just loud hostility, but also quiet, polite hostility, smiling hostility.
Yeah.
Hostility wrapped in the language of civility or belief or personal values. And that's what makes it harder to take and more confusing. Because
I think especially to those who are new to the journey, parents and those whose child has just come out or something, and
right.
And one side, well, they sound so polite and so nice, and that sounds so reasonable.
So nice. Yeah,
it can be very confusing. Yeah,
yeah, it's like being in a family that outright hates you, and one that hates you politely.
Yeah,
it's still hate. You know.
Yeah,
and the harm doesn't just come from yelling insults. It's sometimes from people who insist they're being loving. We had that with my relative was saying that. So today we're going to slow this down. We're going to untangle language from impact. And we're going to talk honestly about why neutrality isn't always neutral and why silence sometimes is a choice with consequences. So let's start with something important. Disagreement is not automatically harmful.
Yeah. I mean, disagreement is not harmful in itself. You can disagree about politics, about theology, about parenting styles or school funding or tax policy or football teams, whatever you want. But here's where the line gets crossed, okay? when the disagreement is about someone's humanity, safety, their very right to exist, it stops being a disagreement and starts becoming a threat.
Yes.
You can't disagree with someone's gender identity without questioning their very reality.
Yeah.
You can't disagree with same-sex relationships and love without devaluing someone's family. You can't disagree with LGBTQ inclusion and still expect LGBTQ plus people to feel safe.
Exactly.
That's not a difference of opinion. That's a difference of power.
That's very well said. That's exactly right. And if you're LGBTQ and you've been told, I love you, I just don't agree with your lifestyle, sorry for the trigger word, we want to speak to you directly about this. That sentence may sound calm, it may sound polite, and the person saying it probably feels like it's polite and calm and very, overextended on their part. But your body knows the truth about it.
And you can feel it in your reaction too.
Yes, because what it's really saying is, I want access to you without honoring you. I want the comfort of love without the cost of affirmation.
Yeah, wow.
Without sacrificing any of my beliefs. I want my beliefs protected, even if you are not.
Wow. Yeah.
And over time, that kind of disagreement is really harmful. It teaches you to shrink, to self-censor, to perform gratitude for scraps of conditional acceptance. So let's be very clear about this. You are not too sensitive. You are not imagining the impact. You are not making a mountain out of a molehill. And you are not required to endure harm just because it's delivered politely.
Wow. Can you say those three things again?
Yeah.
Please?
You're not too sensitive. You're not imagining the impact. You're not making a mountain out of a molehill. And you're not required to endure harm just because it's delivered with a smile on a face. There's a quick thing there.
Yeah.
I may have said this already, but I read recently that New Yorkers are often not nice, but they're kind. And I love that. That's my experience of New Yorkers. They can be brusque and direct, but they're kind. They'll help you. And I thought of people in the South, the stereotypical church people who are...
They can be nice, but
they're
nice,
nice,
not kind.
but they're not kind.
And we're not offending anyone in the South who's listening. You know who we're talking about.
Yeah,
here,
I
right?
grew up in the South. So
Yeah.
I know that we've been in those churches a lot.
Yeah.
And so
beloved, hear us on
being
that.
nice
Hear
is
us on
not
that. Yeah.
being kind.
Yeah. And you don't have to endure the harm just because it's delivered in a nice way.
Right. So
we want for parents and grandparents, siblings, allies, especially those who care deeply and are trying to do the right thing. And this part's really important here. So many people say, I just disagree because they're afraid. They're afraid of being wrong. They're afraid of losing community. They're afraid of changing beliefs that once felt certain. We've talked a lot about the price that a church will make someone pay for raising their hand and going, hang on. I've got a problem with that. And we experience that. You know our story. But they'll often, they're afraid. People are afraid who are trying to do the right thing, but they're confused and they're terrified. Don't forget all the times we've talked about how the church uses fear to motivate, to manipulate, to control. But that said, their intention does not erase the impact of those statements. If a child hears, I disagree with who you are, what they feel is not a nuance.
Yeah.
It's absolute rejection.
Yes.
And a little aside, we've talked here also a lot about issues like suicide and substance abuse and self-harm and all that kind of stuff. And that is a direct result of faith-based family rejection, period.
Yeah.
So a child...
Sorry for trigger words.
Yeah, a child may hear those things, but it's not, their reaction is not nuanced in any way. They feel absolute rejection.
Yeah.
if your silence allows harmful rhetoric to go unchallenged, and I'm going to challenge you with this here, that if your silence, when you hear those things, when you're confronted with those things, when your church, when your friends with other family members say those things, if that goes unchallenged, your LGBTQ plus loved ones don't experience that as neutrality. They experience it as abandonment.
Yes. Yeah, if there's some joke being told, a gay joke, and people stand around and don't speak up against it,
right,
that's taken as agreement.
Yeah.
It's abandonment of the queer person in the group.
Yeah.
Or
Love is not proven by how gently we speak. I mean, we talk about, I forget which movie, but I think it's The King of Kings, where Jesus is just so soft and gentle. And
he holds a little lamb in his arms.
Oh my gosh, that's probably the furthest thing. He probably had a 5 o'clock shadow. Well, he had a whole beard actually. But he's probably a bit scruffy and just laughed full
down
out,
and dirty, yeah,
down and dirty and full out, and
he was
bold
funny. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah, he's a comedian and he's bold and all that kind of stuff. Love is not proven by how gently we speak. It's proven by who we are willing to protect.
That's right. Love is not proven by keeping the peace, but by making peace.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And we need to talk about civility as well here. So
yeah, I mean, civility is often praised as the highest good, to be civil, especially by people who are not the ones being harmed.
How convenient.
Yeah, but here's the truth. Civility has often been used to slow justice down. People were told to be civil about racism, about women's rights, about marriage equality. If you remember all the stuff with Black Lives Matter and some of the looting and the harm that went on, and Trevor Noah was saying, we tell people, well, that's not doing any good. To be violent is not doing any good. And he says, well, not being violent is not doing any good either.
Yeah.
So I'm not advocating violence. I'm saying that just to be civil doesn't accomplish the purpose.
Yeah.
And the civic leaders and religious leaders around Jesus did not view him as civil. They viewed him as breaking their rules, breaking their laws. Yeah. Turning tables over in a temple. Yeah. So civility becomes a problem when it demands that marginalized people stay calm while their lives are being debated.
That is so brilliant.
Yeah. And their rights are being undermined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So asking queer people to politely coexist with rhetoric that endangers them is not peacemaking. That's asking them to bear the cost of someone else's discomfort to make other people happy.
Yeah. Wow. That's good. Thank you for that. That's really good.
Yeah.
So let's name the real world consequences here. Okay. Quote, just disagreeing has been used to justify, and this is a few things of a much longer list.
Yeah.
Has been used to justify laws that block healthcare.
Yeah.
Policies that erase trans kids from schools.
Yeah.
Families cutting off contact, throwing their children out of the home, throwing their children down the stairs. Mm-hmm. You've heard it. It's been used to justify churches excluding queer people from leadership, from safety, from any sense of purpose and place, and even from belonging itself.
Yeah, I mean, these aren't just abstract disagreements. These are lived realities.
Yeah, real world consequences of this.
Yeah, and words shape culture. Culture shapes policy. Policy shapes lives. So when we minimize language, we minimize harm, and people pay the price. The outlier pays the price.
Yeah. So here's a reframing that we want to offer. A person is allowed to have beliefs, but beliefs do not exist in a vacuum. If someone's belief system requires someone else to be less safe, less visible, or less free, then it deserves to be examined. Love does not...
And challenged, yes.
Yes, that's right. Love does not mean avoiding conflict. Love means being willing to change an allyship is not about staying comfortable. It's about staying connected to the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So let's pause for a moment.
As we usually do, let's take a breath.
Take a breath. And gently consider this question.
Wait, I need a bigger breath than that.
Uh-huh.
I get fired up on some of these things here.
I know you do.
Get my preaching thing turned on.
Your inner advocate.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Gently consider this question. Not to make anyone defensive, but just honestly consider.
And this is a question, I will say, that it might be a good question to bring into a conversation that you're having with someone who is using those kind of things, well, I just disagree. We just disagree here. So what's the question?
Okay. Who bears the cost of my disagreement, of this disagreement? And if the answer isn't me, then it's time to listen more closely.
That's really good. Can you say that again?
Yeah. So if you're talking to someone who's just disagreeing, you can say, who bears the cost of the disagreement? And if it's not that person, then it's time to listen more closely to the one bearing the cost. And we want to be clear here that this is not about shaming people. It's about waking up. And we know that people can grow. We've seen it.
Absolutely. Countless,
and we've lived
thousands, tens of thousands of people, parents,
yes,
church leaders.
Yes. That we've seen grow and change.
And if there was one word, a couple words to describe these people, I would say they were willing and they were courageous.
Yeah. And because that's exactly what growth requires is courage. Courage to move beyond neutrality, so-called, beyond silence, beyond agreeing to disagree when lives are on the line.
Yeah.
And even if someone can't understand what it's about, they need to set that part aside and listen to the impact.
Yeah, ask that question. Who bears the cost of this disagreement?
Yes.
Who's being harmed?
And
who's
err
hurting?
on the side of embracing and loving that person. They don't need chapter and verse here. They need to love as the highest priority.
Yeah, we have
Love
said
that
that
feels like love, as we always say.
We've said that often, that, are you able to just love unconditionally and trust the God you believe in with all the rest?
Yeah.
And that's really the bottom line. And let God change whatever, if anything, in a person's life that God wants to change. Or do you feel like you have to intervene? You know what I mean? So, friends, there are some moments in history where kindness looks like clarity, where love looks like choosing sides, not against people, but for dignity. There are moments in history where just disagreement becomes dangerous. Staying quiet is no longer neutral. You can't stay quiet about this. We believe love tells the truth, that love protects the vulnerable, that love shows up even when it costs us something.
Yeah.
And if you're listening today, again, thank you for being here. If you're feeling unsettled about everything that's going on, that may not be a sign that you're doing something wrong.
Right.
It may be a sign that you're ready to grow. We've said a lot. It's time. Oh my gosh. I mean, has there ever been more of a time where we need to speak out, stand up, speak out, even when our voice shakes? We're so glad you're here.
And there's power in that more than we know.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
To change our own hearts, to expand our own love, it becomes a critical mass as people expand in love. It becomes critical mass that becomes the new norm.
Yeah, and as you see sometimes in hearings, public hearings about policies and things, you'll see the school board or the city council or whoever up there, and they're all kind of talking about this policy, this change and everything, and a transgender person or a parent will stand up Now, if everyone stays seated and silent in that, then it just moves forward, or people are allowed to believe that just disagreeing is the polite thing to do. But when someone stands up and goes, well, hang on, because I am going to be harmed by this. This is the impact this is going to have.
Or my child or my friends.
Yeah, this is the impact this is going to have on my life or a life that I love. It brings light and truth to a situation that, oh my gosh, so desperately needs light and truth right now. Yeah, so
we were in a situation where it was a little vacation a little while back, and somebody had their political views plastered all over their shirt and their hat. And one of them was saying to the other in line, well, nobody's complained about this at this, vacation place. Nobody's complained about my shirt. And you and I looked at each other and I said, not complaining is not the same as agreement. Like, just because you haven't heard a complaint doesn't mean everybody agrees with you.
Yeah.
But it's taken that way when people don't speak up. I'm not saying get in a fight with somebody.
But maybe we should have said something then in that situation. And
I've thought about it. Yeah.
And
since.
Yeah. I'll do that next time.
Yeah.
I see that, and I see it all the time. So
yeah.
Beloved, we're glad you're here, and we will keep having these conversations, and we're going to do it together. We love you.
Bye.
Talk to you next week.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
You've been listening to the FreedHearts podcast. We have extensive resources and vibrant, inclusive community for you at freedhearts.org. Please come say hello. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for the podcast, just email us at podcast@freedhearts.org. Audio engineering is by Luke Johnson. The music is provided by our child, the Grammy-nominated Saint Sinner. You can find out more about him and his music at saintsinnermusic.com. Please share, subscribe, and follow on your favorite platform, and support if you can. And thanks for listening.